Welcome to this scientific thought experiment. What if the force of gravity suddenly turned off for 5 seconds? Gravity is the invisible architecture of our reality. Today we'll explore the catastrophic consequences of a 5-second shutdown of this universal bond. Gravity provides the force of stability. Right now, it's pulling everything toward the Earth's center with an acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared. This invisible pull gives us weight and keeps the atmosphere pinned to the Earth's surface, countering the planet's spin. We are constantly in motion. At the equator, your tangential velocity is over 1,000 miles per hour, or 1,670 kilometers per hour. Gravity acts as the centripetal force, continuously curving your path into orbit. Without it, your momentum would carry you in a straight line. Deriving the initial impact, Newton's first law of motion dictates that your momentum is conserved when gravity vanishes. Every unattached object retains its 1,000 miles per hour velocity. You wouldn't float. You would be launched away from the Earth's surface. At t plus 0.00, the moment gravity disappears, the compression in every structure is instantly released. The ground is no longer pushing back on you. This is the beginning of the quote launch phase, where loose objects become projectiles with supersonic potential. The initial rise is due to centrifugal ejection. Without the strong downward pull of gravity, the small, upward centrifugal acceleration from the Earth's spin becomes the net force, sending you slightly upward. Looking at the mathematical derivation, the outward acceleration a is determined by velocity v squared divided by the Earth's radius r. At the equator, this is about 0.0339 meters per second squared, dictating your speed of ejection during the 5 seconds. Gravity keeps the atmospheric columns compressed. The air we breathe is heavy, with tons of pressure bearing down due to gravity. This compressed spring of air is about to be violently released into the vacuum of space. The result is a supersonic expansion, or an atmospheric blowout. The internal pressure of the air, 14.7 psi, is no longer balanced. The atmosphere explodes outward at the speed of sound, creating a global destructive force. The pressure gradient shock means wind velocities would exceed 1,600 kilometers per hour instantly. The air accelerates to fill the vacuum of space, generating winds powerful enough to lift the topsoil off the entire planet. The unanchored oceans, trillion-ton masses of water, suddenly possess kinetic surface surge. As they lift, they form kilometer-high chaotic mists of suspended water, moving eastward at 1,000 miles per hour, scouring coastlines out of existence. The collapse of architecture is due to compression loss. Buildings are held together by their own weight. Removing that weight releases internal structural tensions, causing skyscrapers to shatter and blow up from the inside out. The pop effect is Boyle's law in action. Trapped air in tires, pipes, and sealed containers expands violently as external pressure drops to zero. Every container and structure holding pressurized air would explode simultaneously. Biological decompression would rapidly occur at the Armstrong Limit. At near zero pressure, the boiling point of liquids drops below human body temperature. Blood and tears would begin to boil at t plus 1.5 seconds, causing rapid biological failure. Finally, the moon would experience lunar drift, shifting to a linear trajectory. Without Earth's gravity to curve its path, the moon would fly 5.1 kilometers away in a straight line during the 5 seconds, never returning to its original orbit. The Earth is zooming around the Sun at 30 kilometers per second. If gravity breaks for 5 seconds, the Earth drifts 150 kilometers away from the Sun, fundamentally changing our climate and year. The planet is a pressurized system. Releasing gravity allows the crust to flex upward by several meters, in an effect called isostatic rebound. This triggers global earthquakes far exceeding anything on the Richter scale. By t plus 2 seconds, using the displacement formula, you would be 6.8 centimeters off the ground. Every loose object, including dust and water drops, is now floating alongside you in a rising soup of debris. At 2.5 seconds, the sky turns black, not from night, but because dust and dirt are launched into the air. This massive cloud of debris blocks the sun, plunging the world into a gritty, floating twilight. As the atmosphere thins, Rayleigh scattering fails. The blue sky fades to a terrifying pitch black, even on the sunward side of the planet, as air molecules expand into the vacuum. Within 3 seconds, air pressure drops below what the human body can withstand. This decompression happens at the speed of sound, creating shock fronts that destroy fragile instruments and rupture eardrums worldwide. 3 seconds in, The current height derivation shows you are 15.3 centimeters above the floor. You are floating in a vacuum, surrounded by the debris of a pulverized civilization that is also drifting into the sky. In the near vacuum of a zero-gravity Earth, water spontaneously vaporizes. Every body of water, from puddles to lakes, instantly turns into steam, including the moisture on your skin, creating a world filled with boiling white mist. Our modern world depends on satellites. The moment gravity stops, over 5,000 satellites lose their orbital tether and fly away like a stone from a sling, immediately killing global navigation and the internet. By t plus 3.5 seconds, the calculated upward velocity reaches 0.12 meters per second. You are a slow-motion rocket, accelerating away from the Earth's center, leaving behind a world that is falling apart. Skyscrapers act as massive springs compressed by weight. When the weight vanishes, the elastic potential energy is released. The building literally jumps off its foundation, shattering into gravel in midair. By 4 seconds, you are 27.2 centimeters in the air. The Earth is a chaotic zone of floating cars, loose soil, and shredded architecture. The atmosphere is almost entirely gone, replaced by a cold, dark vacuum. Without the atmosphere to trap heat, the surface temperature drops by 10 degrees every second. The heat is radiated away instantly, plummeting temperatures to hundreds of degrees below zero on the night side. At 4.5 seconds, we reach the peak of the suspension. The planet is a silent, dark graveyard of floating mass. This is the moment of absolute stillness before the most violent event in our world's history. At exactly 5.0 seconds, gravity is instantly restored, and 9.8 meters per second squared of downward acceleration returns. This is a global hammer strike, a high-speed collision with the planet itself. The gravity returns, and everything falls from 42 centimeters. The calculated impact velocity is about 3 meters per second. For a shattered skyscraper, this final blow reduces its remains to rubble. The trillions of tons of air that expanded outward now slam back into the Earth at the speed of sound. This atmospheric re-entry creates a global sonic boom and generates massive heat, igniting the atmosphere. The Earth's crust, having flexed upward during the void, is violently slammed back onto the mantle. This isostatic crash triggers a global magnitude 12 earthquake, destroying any structure that survived the initial chaos. The suspended oceans fall back as unified walls of water. These fall tsunamis move at immense speeds, washing over entire mountain ranges and drowning everything that managed to survive the vacuum and earthquakes. The combination of tectonic shifts and water erosion would completely redraw the world map. Coastal regions would be permanently submerged, leaving us with a planet that looks like it was hit by a cosmic hammer. What is the survival probability? It is estimated to be near zero. Only microscopic organisms hidden deep in the crust, or those in extremely well-shielded bunkers, might see the 6th second. Internally, the liquid outer core would be disrupted, causing the Earth's magnetic shield to flicker and fail. It would take decades to stabilize, leaving the surface vulnerable to sterilizing solar radiation. To summarize, the catastrophe has 3 phases: the shutdown, the vacuum void, and the violent return. This 5-second event represents a total system failure of the planet. Gravity is not a choice, it is the prerequisite for life. Our entire civilization is built on the silent, constant assumption of 9.8 meters per second squared of downward pull. Thank you for exploring this rigorous derivation of a gravity shutdown. We hope these models clarified the immense importance of gravity in our existence. This concludes the video.